Ooh, I need to update that, but we'll do it in a little bit. All right, we're ready.
All right.
What's up, sports fans? Thanks for tapping into some Untapped Keg Sports, part of the Believe Podcast Network, the podcast where we talk about all things Wisconsin sports, including the NFL, NBA, MLB, and some other sports teams that are close to our hearts. So I'm one of your hosts, RJ Zimmerman, here with my good friend, Monte Ball. How you doing, big fella?
I'm all right, man. I'm doing all right. Could be way, way better. We're doing all right. How things going for you?
I can't complain, to be honest. Things are pretty good. So happy to be here. Happy to be talking some sports with you. Things are looking up. Got some stuff on the burner. Maybe we'll talk about later, but it's exciting. So, although as far as sports go and Wisconsin sports, the topic that I put on the title, and I think that a lot of people will agree, is that Wisconsin sports are the kings of mediocrity.
It's been that way for a while. It has been that way for a long time, actually. And at the very least, 10 years.
I would go further back. I would say since Mike Holmgren, in the early 2000s, the Green Bay Packers have been the kings of mediocrity. You have 2 Super Bowl wins with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers in 30 years. That's it. 2.
Right.
3 Super Bowl appearances. That's it. You have 3 Super Bowl appearances.
Only 3. Yeah, only 3 Super Bowl. Because it's hard to win the Super Bowl, but having only 3 appearances is like in 30 years. You said 30 years.
Yeah,
that's egregious.
The Milwaukee Brewers have 0 World Series appearances since 1982. Only, 5 or 6 playoff appearances, and most of that has come since the Christian Yelich trade and Craig Counsell hire.
82 is Raleigh Fingers, right?
Yeah, Robin Yount, Paul Molitor. I mean, they lost to the Cardinals in that World Series. You have the Milwaukee Bucks, who I feel is the only team that really is going all in. And what they are doing, which obviously they won a championship last year, but it took a little bit of luck to get there, which championship runs often do take luck. Rarely are you the best team that just walks your way in. You do get a little bit of luck to get there. So honestly, and then don't even get me started on Wisconsin football, on Wisconsin basketball, on Wisconsin volleyball and Wisconsin hockey. You have all of this talent coming through that college, and you have 0 national titles. 0. The Wisconsin women's hockey team is the only national title winners.
No, the women's Wisconsin, didn't they win like 3 years ago?
Yeah, women's hockey is the only national title winners.
No, I thought volleyball too.
They lost in the tournament. They did not win a national title.
Right. They always get like right there. So yeah, women's hockey.
Par for the course with college sports.
Yeah, exactly. No. I think that's the thing. I mean, the writing is on the wall when you talk about Wisconsin sports. You talk about the history. When it comes to trying to build a team, and again, this is we're talking about all the sports here. Trying to build a team, trying to do your homework, trying to better yourself from the previous year. Just seems like it's always that settle for just putting on a good show.
I agree.
Whether we win, whether we lose, it's which that's a frustrating part because, like you said, the talent is there. The talent has been there. The talent has been here for 20 years. And it just seems like we just always get right there. And even speaking about my time as a Badger, we were always right there to win the Rose Bowl. Although we were winning Big Ten championship games, always wanted to win that bowl game, but still always right there. So I wonder why that is. why that is with Wisconsin sports.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the media, right? How the media is okay with winning, but not okay, but they're okay with failing in the playoffs when it counts. And you hear this all the time on local sports media that it's okay. They put on a good show all year. Like, what more can you expect? It's okay if they don't get to a World Series. It's okay if they don't get to a Super Bowl. Like, you get to watch winning football. But the teams that just promotes being good enough. That doesn't promote to getting to the best, right? Exactly. Look at the New York Giants, who are bad. They were bad before Eli Manning. They were bad for a couple years with Eli Manning. Yes. But because of that media, now they have to win a championship or it's a bust, right? Or the New York Yankees, same thing. The New York Mets have been terrible for years, but then all of a sudden they make a World Series run. They're always making these signings, always. And you say it's because it's a big market, but really that's what their fans demand of the product, right? Look at the Packers. How often have they made moves to go all in? I would argue the Bucks are making moves to go all in, and they have. I mean, they paid Giannis, and they started growing organically, but the past 3 years, they have not been afraid to trade a first-round pick for a player they think will help them get over the top. And they were right last year.
Right.
I mean, even the Brewers are limited from a payroll capacity compared to the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets that are like, we're approaching, $500 million payrolls for the Dodgers, right? The Brewers can't afford that. They did go all in. They get Yelich. They pay him the big contract. He's staying. And then they have to kind of piece, but they don't do what the Cardinals do. The Cardinals don't have much more of a payroll than the Brewers do, but the Cardinals will trade for Nolan Arenado. They'll trade for Paul Goldschmidt. They'll trade for the pitcher that they need, right? The John Lester.
You got Wong from us, from the St. Louis Cardinals.
And that was a really good deal, right?
Right.
But the Brewers needed a first baseman. And sure, they went out and got Eduardo Escobar, who you think is going to hit and didn't. How much of that is the philosophy of the Brewers? How much of it is them experimenting to try to get, to the World Series a la the Tampa Bay Rays, which is kind of what they need to do. But at the same time, you can do that with how the Cardinals do it, because the Cardinals do it in a similar way. But the Cardinals aren't afraid to pull the trigger and make a big move. Right? Look at what the Cubs did. The Cubs realized we are not winning a World Series this year. Sold everything to build up to make another run. Right.
I mean, you see, we've talked about this. You see that with NFL teams as well. When we try to, when we compare the other NFL teams to the Green Bay Packers are super conservative, like an extreme level of conservativeness, if that's a word, when it comes to trying to go all in, or at least making an effort to go all in. Free agency, you guys are always extremely thin when it comes around that time of trying to try to grab some steals or do whatever you need to. You've gotten a few, but I just don't see that team going aggressive like the Buccaneers going aggressive. Right. Just don't get Antonio Brown. We'll figure out how we're going to pay him, but go talk to him. Or these other teams who say, screw it, we're going to go all in for this year. It's win or bust this year. I don't understand why the Packers don't do that. And I truly think that's also another thing, or no, that is the thing, actually, that pisses Aaron Rodgers off the most. That plus not, taking his input when it comes to, how to build this offense. That would piss me off so much, because as Aaron Rodgers, as a player like that, you don't need any more money. You got enough money. You're trying to get another ring. Absolutely. Before obviously that clock runs out, and that clock is about to run out very soon for Aaron Rodgers. And so I just don't understand it when it comes to Wisconsin sports. And I think you made a great point. I think it is the media because I don't want to say their names. I was gonna say their names, but I'll hold off on that. But long story short, I've shaken a few feathers, or I should say, ruffled a few feathers in the media realm when it comes to talking about Badger sports, because I can at times come off blunt, and some people may receive that as me coming off
negative,
insensitive in a sense when it comes to them being kids and stuff. But no, I'm just calling a spade and saying what needs to happen, what needs to change. This is what needs to be done. But receiving a slight bit of backlash from other platforms.
And that's the thing.
Exactly.
They treat everybody with kids' gloves.
Yeah.
You
exactly.
are in a show me environment, right? You are in a, what have you done for me lately kind of a thing. Get better. Hold their feet to the fire. We don't want people to lose their job. We want you to do better. We want you to be better than what you are. We don't want complacency. We want to see something new. It's not working. Okay? Recruiting 2-star and 3-star recruits and then trying to coach them up is not working. You get these 4 and 5-star guys and they're no better than they were in high school. What does that tell you?
I mean, so true. And then here's the thing. Look at the other teams in the Big Ten. Teams that were at the bottom of the barrel. Not saying Iowa was at the bottom of the barrel, but you got a team that just hasn't really been all
in
that
mediocrity, right?
In a long time.
Yeah.
But Iowa, like, they disappeared and said, you know what, we're going to just scrap what we're doing, figure out a way to change some things, and come back with a vengeance. And look at them. Yeah, they lost, but at one point they were ranked number 2 in the country. Still a darn good football team. Teams are making those changes. The Minnesota Gophers, that head coach, was that PJ Fleck? Is that it?
Yep.
He's a bit of a me guy, but changing some things around. He's been changing the culture of Gopher football, recruiting. Got a beast as a running back. Unfortunately, he's injured, but Ibrahim. So, I mean, these changes that I'm seeing with these other schools, other programs in the Big Ten, but then you got Wisconsin. Again, I'm a diehard Badgers fan. We're Badgers fans. That's why we're critical on the Badgers. But it seems like this cookie cutter mold is not helping us move forward.
You know what it is too?
What's the answer?
And
go ahead, sorry.
The teams are not making the excuses. The fans are making the excuses for the teams, and then the teams are taking it and running with it, right? I mean, that's exactly what it is, and it's not just the fans that are doing it, but it's the local media that are making excuses. Your offensive line is not living up to par, right? It is not doing well. It's fine. They're kids. So who are you going to hold to account? The coach. Right? The coach is not coaching them to how they should be. Or your rotation, this idea that you have to rotate and not have cohesion is not working. It's not working.
No. Here's the deal. And I'm no longer going to bite my tongue about this anymore. But I will always preface with this as well. And I'm glad you stated that as well, RJ. Again, we understand they're kids. We're not bashing kids. Mm-hmm. We're essentially analysts, so we're just doing our quote job. You know what I mean? We're just observing the game, speaking about the game, stating the obvious facts of what needs to happen. But I'm tired of biting my tongue. And again, preface it with this again. I love Coach Chris to death. I really, really do. I think he's a wonderful human being, an amazing father, an amazing husband. I've kicked it with his family up in their suite, the coach's suite for the games. Love his entire family, his mother-in-law, all of the above. But I think when it comes to him being that tough love that you sort of need when you're a coach on the players, I don't think it's tough enough. I don't think it's tough enough. And what I mean by that is I've had the privilege, the opportunity of being coached by Coach Chris from an offensive coordinator standpoint. And the toughness that I saw then, and again, I'm not by the players in the locker room 24/7 today, but the toughness I saw then, I don't know if I'm seeing that today. I don't. I really don't. And maybe that is just because times are different now. You know what I mean? You can't scream at kids the way they screamed at us back then. I mean,
well,
I don't mean scream as in derogatory, because I'm not spreading any, misinformation about Badger program back then. But they were very hard on us. We got yelled at. We got screamed at. That tough love. I wonder if that's going on now.
There's a way to do it that is not belittling or derogatory. So
yeah,
I mean, you don't have to get in a player's face, grab their face mask, like yell at them and push them away, right? But you do have to set expectations that are vocalized. Like it's the key to communication. Like you and I sometimes we think it's what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's understood, but because we don't say it, like all of a sudden one of us does something. Well, I didn't know we were going to do that. I mean, it's just like between me and my partner, right? Like I think something's understood, like, my kids watching their tablets, and then next thing I know, like, well, we're not giving them a tablet right now. Oh, really? Well, yeah, I thought you knew that. No, I didn't. So that's my bad. But at the same time, like, we need to talk about that stuff. So when we set expectations, we want that national championship, or at least we want to be in the conversation. We want to have the opportunity to win it. That's all we want, right?
I mean, let's just talk about let's just get to the Big Ten championship game first. I mean, although let me say, I mean, we did go 2016, 17, and 19. We did, but those performances were very poor.
Yeah,
extremely poor,
especially in the second half of.
I mean, one of those was 50-0.
Yeah, I mean that one. Melvin's last year. Cardale Jones, backup quarterback, comes in, torches.
Yeah. And so again, but we always say this again. So to the listeners, if this is your first time listening to our show, please listen to our previous ones. We state that we are spoiled Badgers fans. We understand that. To us, though, it just seems, if you look at the Big Ten West as a whole, we shouldn't be struggling the way that we're struggling. Yeah, we really shouldn't be. And so that, again, this Wisconsin sports, this Wisconsin identity, I would love for it to become more aggressive. Like the Bucks. The Bucks are saying, screw it. We're going aggressive.
I don't think they have a first-round pick for the next 3 years. And guess what? Good for them. Good for them. That's something that the Packers do. They clutch onto that first-round pick and they hold on to it because why? What is that first-round pick going to turn out to be? They may not be the talent of a first-round pick. Like, you've hit on third-round picks and second-round picks often, but first-round picks, they've struggled with. So why aren't you trading that away for a Stephon Gilmore? Although he didn't cost that much, but could you have negotiated a contract to fit it under the cap? They're so gun-shy. What if we make a move and it doesn't work out? At least you're making the move and you're showing that you're willing to do that, right?
I think
they would rather be off early than off late. And that's what drives me crazy as a fan. I would rather you show up to the party, right? Just decked out. Just let's do it. Just peacocking. Then I would rather you show up to the party with, just like, oh, I'm gonna let my walk do the talking instead of me, being showboaty and stuff. Like, no, go out, trade for Odell Beckham Jr. That's what you need. Help Aaron Rodgers, because if you give Aaron Rodgers help, imagine how good he's gonna be.
That'd be ridiculous. My take. Oh, it's not even really take. I think Odell. Obviously, I think the Browns are gonna get rid of Odell, and I do see him going to Atlanta.
Atlanta's more than an Odell away. Atlanta needs a lot of offensive line help.
I see him going to Atlanta, though. I do.
But a lot of
I don't get it. I don't get it.
You're winning by 3 points. You're winning by 4 points, 5 points, one score games. You have an opportunity, and this is why I really like LaFleur, because I feel like LaFleur is all in. The only problem is you are struggling at closing games out. Last game, obviously, you scored the touchdown when you needed it in the fourth quarter. The previous 3 games, you did not. Yes, you are 4-1. Yes, you won those games. You deserve to be 4-1. But you need to do better, because in the playoffs, field goals ain't going to cut it. They never have. Ask Mike McCarthy against the Seahawks.
It's
when they lose in overtime.
Right.
When it goes to overtime, I just assume they're going to lose, because that's what happens every time.
It's well, that's the thing. There needs to be a change. There needs to be more of an aggressive and here's let's dive. Again, we touched on it briefly there, the aggressiveness that we're talking about. Listen, we're not saying, freaking be all out aggressive, I don't even know, Hail Mary first play of the game or something, or completely exhaust every single dollar you have on just useless stuff. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're just essentially speaking about the positions you need help in. Just go and freaking do it. Just go out there and take a risk. Okay, we're struggling on our shell, our DBs. Okay, oh goodness gracious, there's Gilmore. They should have been like, emergency meeting. Let's figure out how we're going to get him. How much money do we have?
I'm not going to lie. Richard Sherman. They should have been negotiating with Richard Sherman. Yes, he's hurt. Yes, he didn't play amazing with the Bucs. Don't care. You needed cornerback help. You should be talking to somebody like that. The one thing I will say is they are making moves right now. They signed Jalen Smith after he was cut from the Cowboys, which they need some depth at inside linebacker, right? And he has shown he can be an NFL star. And then Whitney Merciless. Right. Goodness gracious. Whitney Merciless. They just signed him, and they need some rush help, and that's what he's going to bring. Like, that's moves that the Packers in the past don't make. They don't bring outside help in during the season. Why not? It's like they have in the past, and it's somewhat worked out sometimes. Sometimes it's just been what it is. But for some reason, they think their culture is better than anybody else's. But your culture is not winning Super Bowls. So how's it better than anybody else's, right? I mean, you just look at the talent that is down in Tampa Bay, and you're like, I can't believe all these people coexist, but they do.
It's ridiculous.
Who sets the tone in that locker room to make it work? Tom Brady.
Of course.
Who sets the tone in the Green Bay locker room more than likely? Aaron Rodgers. From what we could tell, it's a brotherhood there. They love each other. Like, Devontae Adams was about to sign the richest wide receiver contract. Did not like the way that Aaron Rodgers was being treated, so he's just like, no, you're not going to treat my brother great. I'm not going to sign here. And guess what? Now you have 2 positions that you have the absolute NFL star at that you might lose this year. You don't know.
It's going to be an interesting next year for the Packers going into next year, I should say. And then just a quick transition here. Let's go briefly talk about the Broncos. It's not Wisconsin sports, of course, but with
they're
Denver,
close to our hearts.
Now being 3-4, lost last night against the Cleveland Browns, which I anticipated that. And knowing that the Browns offense is literally just limping. Every person, unfortunately, is injured. They got a long injury list. I still just knew that their run game coordination is still just...
Their third string running back went for 145 against a good Broncos run defense.
That run game coordination is just top notch. And that just goes to show you how well, again, we're talking, we're pros here, but the development side of it. So they developed their second string running back, which again, it's a tandem. It's a tandem that they do there. But then the third string running back, Johnson, comes in, and it's like, okay, who's this kid? Plug and play, because they have the structure, the run game coordination. Denver's in trouble. Denver's in a lot of trouble. 3-4 right now. I think with Von Miller's injury last night, which is very, very sad to see, I think what's going to happen with Denver is this. I think Denver's going to limp for the rest of the year and possibly work on getting rid of Von Miller to then free up some cap space and then go aggressive for a quarterback. If I'm George Paton for the Broncos, that's obviously what I'm looking at. Obviously, yeah, I'm not going to say let's go ahead and limp to the end of the year. No, we're still going to play aggressive, try to win games, but I think that's what's on the horizon for the Broncos. Is Von Miller departure, free up cap space, go aggressive for a quarterback. All in.
Do you think Fangio survives the season?
I think so. I hope so. I do hope so, because this is only his third year? Third,
right,
fourth?
Yeah.
That's too soon, because it's not essentially all his fault. Let's be honest. Elway didn't do a great job of finding a quarterback after Peyton. George Payton Payton is doing a really good job, has done a really good job his first year, actually, of getting some players, getting some players to play, like Tim Patrick, all these guys that we didn't know who they are, stepping in now because of injuries and balling. Although Patrick played earlier in the year, but now he's getting way more time now. I think Fangio still stays. If I'm the president, Fangio still stays. But I have a conversation with George Patton, the offensive coordinator, the general manager, and we work on a smooth departure from Von Miller. Unfortunately, that's going to hurt a lot of Broncos fans, but he's 10, 11 years in, and he unfortunately can't stay healthy.
I think him and Melvin, right? I think this is both their last years in Denver.
For sure.
That frees up a lot of cap. That's
because Monte Williams is he's really good. He's really good. He's cheaper. And so it's a business. Although Melvin's a good running back, but this is his final year. So his next contract, he's obviously going to want some cash, because running backs you got to get your money now. And so I think Gordon will be gone and Vaughn, and that's going to clear up enough space to go all in on a quarterback. And I think if that does happen, I think that we're looking at a different Broncos team. I really do. Depending on obviously who fills in for Vaughn. We do got Chubb, of course, and Shelby still over there, but we will need to pick up obviously another dominant linebacker, which I think we can in a draft. But I think a great thing that we'll do is obviously free up cap space and go for a quarterback, go for a guy who's going to develop and grow. Obviously, we thought it was Drew Lock, but in my opinion, and I don't mean this in a rude way, but to me, this is just a great way of explaining Drew Lock. I just think that he's like a watered down Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
And I know that can come off derogatory in a sense. I don't mean it like that, but that's just what it is to me when I watch. Yeah. And that's just not going to get it done, especially in the AFC West.
Win it on his own, right? Can't take mediocre talent, make it greater. Just going to take the talent that he has and use it, utilize it. So that's Kirk Cousins in a nutshell, right?
And especially in that division, that is a high quarterback level division.
Yep. Derek Carr is super underrated. So
he's always been, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I've always
liked Derek Carr.
Because I love his poise in the pocket. I love his play action. And I love the way he stands tall during his play action after he fakes. He does the dip and stands tall. And obviously he can sling that thing. So just a quick little touch on the Broncos. I didn't want to go too long there, but that's just the Broncos are being humbled right now for sure. For sure.
Yeah. And I think it's good to touch on it, right? Like we said, we talk about things that are close to our hearts, and Broncos are close to your hearts. So I thought that they would play a little tougher last night. I was disappointed to see what the final score was, but that's no big deal.
Yeah.
So
it was a decent game, actually. It just came down to, if you can't stop their run, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
They open up the entire playbook. And when I mean stop the run, this guy was balling.
Yeah.
He was hitting those cutback lanes like it was easy. So Broncos hopefully they turn it around. Long season though, very long.
Well, at least they're not part of the Kings of Mediocre, which is Wisconsin sports. So let's see. Maybe we could be turning a new leaf, right? You never know. It's the way that they're signing free agents. Maybe they will make a deal. Who knows? They need to. See. They need to. Whatever it takes. So
we'll see. We'll see. Here's my question to you, man.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question
Go for
about
it.
I want to ask you a question real quick about the Packers. What do you see happening next year, going into this season, with Rodgers and Adams?
Rodgers is the Green Bay Packers quarterback. Devontae Adams is the receiver. They both signed 2-year deals. Rodgers takes a little bit less money, I think, than he would have because he gets his 2 years guaranteed. I see Adams taking 2 years guaranteed. Maybe not the highest paid receiver, but fully guaranteed contract. And I don't think Jordan Love is with the team.
Kind of like a Jimmy G, huh? Like a Tom Brady, Jimmy Garoppolo.
And it's not personal between Love and Rodgers. It's just how the Packers are going to show that they're all in for 2 years.
That's exactly what they did with Tom Brady, actually.
So
and then Tom Brady was like, that's why he had that thing with Bill Belichick's like, you're wasting his talent. Let him go.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, I don't, like I said, at the beginning of the offseason, when all this came out, I will believe Aaron Rodgers is not the Green Bay Packers quarterback when he's not the Green Bay Packers quarterback. And after seeing this year and the lack of talent on the field, you cannot tell me that you can win with this roster with anybody else at quarterback.
No,
you can't. The way that he just dissects defenses at the line of scrimmage, you're not going to get that from Jordan Love right now. I'm sorry, you're not. And I think it was a fine pick at the time because Aaron Rodgers was showing a decline, right? The only thing I don't agree with is trading up like they did, giving up the draft capital.
Yeah.
But it is what it is at this point. And, I think that AJ Dillon is going to be a stud. I think he's going to be a stud. So
absolutely.
Is Aaron Jones gonna, I think after next year, Aaron Jones might be moving on to another team. That'd be after next year though.
That's how it happens for running backs.
But we will see. I love what LaFleur does with Jones and Dillon on the field at the same time. LaFleur is all in all the time, going for it on fourth downs. This is something that is. They just need to score more touchdowns than they have been, which is they're going to work on. They've said, obviously, they showed improvement last week, but just because we were so spoiled last year and how many touchdowns they scored, but then in the playoffs, they settled for field goals. Yeah. And that's not going to work. So that's where you have to figure something out. And I still will defend LaFleur for kicking that field goal in the NFC Championship game because your defense had to stop Tom Brady no matter what.
I think it was
you had to get that. You had to get one score, so the 3 points is fine.
Good call. As soon as they saw the kicker running on the field, I was like, "Good call. I'm doing the same. Kicking it."
You weren't settling in that position. That's part of being aggressive in that position is scoring the points.
Right.
So that's all. That's what it is. But. Yeah, that's where I feel like it's going to be. Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback till Aaron Rodgers retires.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess. Yeah, we got to wait and see. I do like I've been seeing some aggressive coaches this year in the NFL going for two, saying screw it, we're either going to walk up this field.
Winners or losers, right?
Just right here, right now. That's what I'm talking about.
One thing real quick about the Packers this year is. I kind of think that the GM, Brian Gutekunst, swallowed his pride a little bit, kind of looked at this roster up and down and is like, no, I do need to do a better job. This is not as good of a roster as we possibly could have. Right. And I think that's part of the reason that all of a sudden he's like making these moves for these free agents in season, because he understands if I have a chance to improve this roster, I have to do it. I can't just rely on what's there. And I just want to see them do that with the offense. Like here's a receiver that they could use that might be available. Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks would be really good in this offense.
Cooks for sure.
I mean, and it's not like Houston's going anywhere. They would probably be open to dealing him. I would be hitting the phones on that and see what I can get. So
I'm just interesting year, man. I mean, with the Chiefs, I don't understand what's going on over there. Same players, same coach.
I mean, it's kind of what happened to Andy Reid in Philadelphia. I mean, Andy Reid is a great coach, don't get me wrong, but complacency happens to everybody. And
balls and Mahomes is throwing like some passes that are like, bro, like, what are you thinking?
Sometimes you need some taste of adversity in order to take that next step. So, well, this has been Untapped Keg Sports, our sports podcast that revolves around Wisconsin sports and the teams that we care about. I'm RJ Zimmerman. You can find me at It's Trickster, ITZ. The I is one in Trickster. Untapped Keg everywhere. Hit us up. Let us know what you want to hear about. Let us know how you feel about Wisconsin sports and the king of mediocrity. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on Facebook. We're in the middle of revamping some stuff, trying to get some more engagement. Let us know if you think that Wisconsin sports are mediocre or if they're just knocking on the door. Where can they find you, Monts?
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at MonteBall28, Instagram at MonteBall, Untapped Keg pages as well. Yeah, I don't know. This was a good show. Yeah, I'm still like, I don't know. I'm like real groggy. I don't know if I slept, probably mouth breathing last night while I sleep or something. But this was good.
Yeah.
This was really good. RJ, did you already share where they can find you?
Yep.
Where can they find you?
Untapped Keg Sports. We're part of the Believe Podcast Network. This podcast has been brought to you by Bet Online. Please bet responsibly and reach out if you need help. We will help you. Catch us on Sunday morning for our sobriety and mental health podcast live on YouTube at 9 a.m. Central Time. And, we're gonna try to take some chat advice and we'll see how everything goes. But, hit us up. We're willing. If you want to be on the show, hit us up because we are open to it. So, message, DMs are open. Untapped Keg Twitter, Untapped Keg Facebook, Untapped Keg Instagram. Hit us up. Hit up Monte at MonteBall28. Hit up me at It's Trickster, ITZ. The I is the one in Trickster. And you know what? Let's have fun this weekend because that's what fans are supposed to do. Have fun.